Hello, my name is Ulin Chotev, and this is another episode of this podcast intended to present opinions and sometimes ideas that I just don't hear from not just the mainstream media, but sometimes even the pundits that I like and follow. They cannot cover everything. So let's dive together into what happened this week in America and around the world. First, but not significant importance, the confirmation of Todd Blanche as Attorney General, divided by party lines, the new attempt of Donald Trump to stop illegal immigration, this time Birthright, the strike on Iran that he called off, the topic that I find the most interesting about Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and the pact they signed around Iran. One side on the map, and you will start making conclusions. The drought in Europe, but not only, and what could and should be the conservative concept of fighting global warming. Let's start with the confirmation of Todd Blanche, another win for Donald Trump. His candidate was confirmed. It is very unfortunate that Democrats started opposing practically every appointee of Donald Trump and broke the tradition of bipartisan confirmation of most appointments. I think above 80%, 90% of the time, it was bipartisan. The two parties, even if they had their reservations, they felt like we should allow a president to have his own picks. So the Senate confirmed Todd Blanche as Attorney General by 50 to 49. The vote was gavelled down at 4:31 a.m. on Saturday, August 8, after a late-night session ran into the early hours ahead of the chamber's August recess. I don't have what to add to that. Mr. Blanche is not in any way a worse candidate than, let's say, President Kennedy picking his brother. And I'm not saying President Kennedy was bad or Robert Kennedy was bad. I'm just saying that the American concept of picking a political appointee to head the judicial branch of the power system is not very good. Judicial should be independent, just like, let's say, courts used to be. But now we also we always elected judges and many other officials, which is a very good thing compared to Europe, where you just learn from the news that your new judge or police chief is being appointed by a central government somewhere far, far away. Us here, voting for many, many positions is a much better concept. The problem is that we politicized it to the extreme. Now Democrats only vote for Democrat candidates and Republicans vote for Republican judges and sheriffs, etc., which is not the core of the idea. shouldn't be that way. We should, I don't know, maybe require a larger majority to get some more consensual candidates. Although in this situation, I don't see very good chances of bipartisanship. But we'll see. In any case, Mr. Blanche was confirmed, and he is now the Attorney General of the United States. I wish him luck. Donald Trump's new citizenship orders, 5 weeks after the Supreme Court struck the first one down, he signed 2 executive orders on Thursday, August 6th. The first order expands the categories of people the administration treats as ineligible for birthright citizenship. Children of parents who entered a commercial transaction to secure a birth in the United States. That first. Children of members of foreign terrorist organizations, which apparently was not illegal until now. Every terrorist could come here, give a birth, get an American passport, and then use it to harm our country. Well, now it's no longer allowed. Also, children of foreign government employees, children of foreign nationals who lobby or act on behalf of foreign governments. These, I think, are obvious. If you work for a foreign government, you shouldn't get American citizenship. You are engaged in some national politics of another country. And children born in U.S. territories where citizenship is not conferred by federal statute. Children with at least one citizen parent remain eligible. The second order targets birth tourism, directing agencies to deny visas and entry to people traveling to the United States primarily in order to give birth, and to those who organize such trips. The White House describes it as the first such ban. My opinion is that Donald Trump cannot lose that fight. He is the last barricade that keeps the border a border. His opponents will reopen the border, will allow many millions more to come, will allow them to vote, and that will be the end of American democratic Republican system that we cherish so much, because there will be only one party, just like in California, and that party will do the things they do in California. They decimated California, which used to be the perfect place on earth, no longer is. So Donald Trump cannot afford to lose that battle. If the Supreme Court disagrees, that's on them. He will find ways to stop illegal immigration and to deport as much as possible until we reach the moment when Americans vote in the American elections, not foreigners who came here illegally. I came here as an immigrant, and millions of immigrants like me are allowed to vote, but we were vetted. We went through the process of presenting proof of education, proof of professional skills, medical exams, paying for visas. And we were allowed into the United States. Then we waited 5 more years. So America makes sure we are decent people. And only then we went through an exam, and then we become American citizens. And there is millions like me, and no one has a problem with us. I am a member of the Republican Party. No one ever told me you of the people I meet with, you somehow, because you are an immigrant, you're less than us or anything like that. But illegal immigration needs to be stopped at any price. And I admire Donald Trump investing his political capital into that endeavor. And I wish him success as well. The strike on Trump that Trump called on Iran, called off, after in the 5th month of the war, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed, which means, well, basically the prices of oil are stable, and Iran is not doing any trade. They are a country under blockade, complete blockade. I don't know. They seem to like it because they are not willing to negotiate. He tried to lure them. He told the world, we are meeting in Monday. They said, no, there is no such thing. We are not coming. We won't show up. So it's a choice. The most important of the two reasons why I think Donald Trump called off this attack. The first and more important is not that he's short on ammunition, which I think he is. And don't trust me, I think I said it last week, J.D. Vance stated it in 2024. It's not that we don't want to help. It's not that we don't have the money. We don't have the stock. And Trump, unfortunately, was right to reduce the help for Ukraine. Why? Because I'm a big supporter of Ukraine being attacked by Russia and killed, and Russians killed in a bloody war. But Donald Trump realized that America cannot endlessly help while Europe, a continent of 650 million people, most of them rich, refuses to build their own weapons and spend the necessary money on that. And they were just getting a free ride. Donald Trump stopped that. And now we see why. We see why he was right. Because he knew how much stock he has of weapon system, like the ones that protect from the air, the ones that attack, that the long range missiles. We don't have that. So we have plenty enough to destroy Iran with a few more hits. But here's the real reason why I think he's not doing it. Because we are at the point where we already destroyed every military asset, every significant military asset Iran has. They don't have the tanks. We look at them from the space, from everywhere, with airplanes. We have spies on the ground. There is nothing left. So if they keep being reluctant to sign, to just admit they will not build a nuclear weapon, he needs to start hitting the so-called soft targets. Bridges, government buildings, power stations, desalination stations. Leave them in the dark, not able to bake bread, leave them without water. He can do it in 24 hours. There is no one to stop him but one person, and it's Donald Trump. He doesn't want to do it. I think he's not that kind of person. He doesn't like wars. He hates it being there on the first place, instead of dealing with building the nuclear power plants and the data centers and dealing with the energy shortage. He's a business person. He's not a military guy. So he doesn't want to hit Iran where it really hurts. And let's be aware, some damage is not reversed easy and quickly. If you destroy a nation, they may not rebuild for decades. Why? Because, let's say, they don't have the water, they don't have the electricity, they don't have the bridges. People start starving, getting nervous, getting mad. They start being mad at each other. And there will be a civil war. Who is right? Who is wrong? Why is this happening to us? It's you. No, it's you. A civil war means a division. God knows what kind of groups they will split into, but it won't be one nation. And from there, look at what happened in Sudan. There is no inside recovery. They keep going down just because they are split. And I don't think anyone wants this to happen in Iran. Their neighbors don't, certainly. They don't want to see a nation starving and starting to flee here and there by the millions. It's like 80 millions of them. So what everyone wants is Iran to remain intact and to be a normal country. It's them refusing to be. It's not Donald Trump's evil character or hate for Iran or for Islam. He has plenty of friends and partners all over the Islamic world. It's not that. Which we'll discuss in a little bit. Now, let's come back to America for a moment. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported on Friday, August 7, that U.S. non-farm payrolls fell by 23,000 in July. Forecasters had expected a gain between 83 and 95,000. They expected more jobs. Turns out the Bureau of Labor Statistics found out there is less jobs. And the May and June numbers were revised down by a combine of 103,000 jobs, which pushes the total of May, June, and July to almost 200,000 jobs less. On the other hand, the labor force participation rate was only 61% and 61.4%, which is the lowest since February 2021. Now, historically, it was always lower than that. Participation is how many people of the able bodies work. And Trump was very proud when he reached 61%. Comes Joe Biden, he hires a lot into the government. He even further raised the participation rate, but that was fake. And when Trump lets go many, many thousands of government employees, what we see is a lower participation rate. Why didn't those people go to work? Is kind of a legit question. What happened to them? There is, I think, 11 million jobs open in America. And yeah, these are not jobs for influencers or for web designers. These are jobs for truck drivers and for electricians, welders, construction workers, farm workers. So Trump is working also to motivate the labor to take jobs. He cuts the social welfare. When you don't have money for free, you got to find a job. But it seems like the people he let go from the government administration, they are not used to work. And also, let's not forget the plethora of leftist NGOs that were feeding on US aid, and the leftist media like NPR that were subsidized by the Treasury. They are letting people go, and these are definitely people who are not used to work. So I don't know if they try, but nobody wants them, probably. Because a government employee is not a very good line in your resume. I'm sorry to break this to you, but if you are one of them, you will have even harder time to find a job than we all have. And I'm not saying that it's easy to find a job in America, but it is. If you are an electrician, you will start with a 6-digit salary, or a welder. In the upper side of between 100,000 and 200,000 a year. And these jobs are open. So, and also let's not forget that in the manufacturing, the jobs were 5,000 plus revised to 11,000. So some things are happening under the surface that we still don't see clearly because it's only 18 months since he's a president. And some things like rebuilding an industries need more than 18 months to plan, design that plant, get all the permits, even if his government is expediting, and then build that plant, be it for pharmaceuticals, for precious minerals, or for, is it a data center or a chip maker? It will take years. Guys, let's be adults. Elections are coming. And I'm here talking as an adult, not as a Republican, as someone who lives on the earth. You don't rebuild a country in 18 months. The jobs are coming, the money is already here, and the money is working. The hundreds of billions that were invested in many production projects, they will happen. But you don't recall how to build ships. We used to be the biggest ship maker on earth. Now it's China. We build 5 a year. China builds 200 a year plus, 200 plus. We need to relearn how to build ships. That takes time. He called South Korean shipbuilders to teach Americans because we stopped talking about machinery and materials around the table at dinner. We just forgot how to do things with our hands. I'm Sure, we will recall, we will relearn, but it takes time. So there will be time when numbers will not be so great. It is about the maturity of a nation to listen to the shepherd who is leading us to the green pastures, or follow those who are leading us to the mice. And I beg you to just remember 2 years ago what he inherited: an open border, an economy in distress, without any light in the tunnel. There was no investments. There were no plans. Joe Biden did the CHIPS Act. You cannot force everyone to build in America with government money. He spent $50 billion only to motivate the chip makers. Donald Trump didn't spend a dime, and they are coming because of the tariffs, because of the quick permits, because of the low taxes. So let's be realistic. You don't build a nuclear plant in a year. It takes 10 years. And there is a lot of businesses that are now working on these small modular nuclear designs. I hope they succeed, because those are extremely promising and they are fast. Once you start building, producing them, you just ship them. It's like a machine. You don't need a permit for each power plant. So whoever does that, there will be a rain of gold over their heads. And I wish them that. It will be just great. Drought in Europe, drought in America, and what is my concept of fighting global warming, and what should be the Republican, the conservative concept. The Pact nuclear power plant shut down completely on Sunday, August 2nd, the first full shutdown in its history. One of the two units still running was powered down early that morning, the last later the same day. The shutdown was announced by Prime Minister Peter Magyar. It's in Hungary, it's on the Danube River, and the Danube is drying up. The rivers that flow into the Danube are drying up because there is no rain and higher evaporation, higher, etc. The cause is the record low Danube. The pumps could no longer draw enough cooling water. At 4 p.m. local time on August 1st, Hungary's water monitoring network measured minus 131 centimeters. That's 4.5 feet lower level. And there is two more nuclear plants in that area, one in Romania, which is already lowering its production, one in Bulgaria. These are small countries, like 1/3 or 1/4 of their electricity being produced by a nuclear plant they have. So the shutting down of these plants is not great news for these countries. And we will keep probably hearing such news. This global warming is nothing like the last one. Let's be see it clear. The last global warming was 10,000 years ago, and the ocean levels rose by 240 feet. Great Britain was part of Europe and then become an island because the strait, the land that was connecting it to Europe went under the water. And now it's so deep under the water, they had to build a tunnel to connect Great Britain to Europe. So, and the carbon dioxide levels now, 400 parts in a million, they are 3 times now lower than they were in past periods of the history of the planet, when the planet was thriving with plants, because plants, like, they feed on carbon dioxide. That's what they breathe, and they release oxygen. Now, we tried the concept of the left to fight global warming, and they failed miserably. Turns out they worked for China and for Russia. They shut down their own industries, and they made it possible for China to develop huge industries and now sell everything to us, from shoes to furniture to clothes to machinery and electronics and whatnot. Soon they want also to sell us cars. The left did that, and they spent tons of money. Only Germany spent $1.5 trillion on green energy. It failed. It's losing money. They have electricity price 400% more than we pay, and their industries are decimated. Now let's hear what could be the answer from the right, because we don't hear that often. What conservatives should offer as a concept? Well, we don't have water, but there is plenty of water in the ocean. We need to desalinate that water, remove the salt, not throw it back as Saudi Arabia is doing, but process the brine into fertilizers. There are such technologies. And then pipe the water inside the continental parts of America, of Europe, and release it into old existing dry or semi-dry riverbeds of rivers that died or barely exist. Let the water do its thing. Just pour the water. Yes, spend billions on desalination plants and power plants that will produce energy for them. But for $1 invested in a desalination plant, you get $10 when the river starts creating life. There will be plants, there will be fish, there will be agriculture, animals, people living, and people visiting for trips, for tourism. There will be businesses. So you spend $1 on the ocean shore to suck water from the ocean and remove the brine, and then transport that water into the driest parts of the country. But then that water, just by flowing, by being there, creates lots of opportunities. Why do you think the parts of the United States that are on the shore are richer than the states that are inside because the people are stupid in these central states, or the people on the shore are very smart? No, because they have water, they have rainfall. Whatever you plant close to water will produce more with less effort and expenses. So we want water in Texas, we want water in California, we want water in many, many other places, and Europe needs that water as bad as we do. So without any with further dragging feet, we should start water desalination on a massive scale. This is a very lucrative business. Israel is doing it for decades, and they turned many deserts into gardens, because not only Israel is using Israeli technology, but also all the other countries, from Egypt to Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Qatar and everyone else. So the Jews are showing how it's done. Plus, I would add that element, because I am environmental conscious. Do not throw the brine back into the ocean. And the money you spend will be returned with big profit. So, but right as of now, Europe is suffering, America is suffering, Texas is suffering for decades, and there is a solution that at least Republicans should promote openly and loudly. And the last topic today is maybe the most interesting. It's the Pact, Mecca Pact, that was signed by Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. These are countries around Iran. For some reason, they decided to form a military pact. And just like with NATO's Article 5, an attack on each of them is considered an attack to all of them. So who brings what? Let's see. Turkey has the largest army in NATO after the United States. And Turkey has much less population. But they have a huge army which is very well armed. Pakistani army is in constant mobilization, first because they prepare for a war with India, second because they have the internal threat from terrorist Taliban from Afghanistan, and the third party of this alliance is Saudi Arabia. They don't have a great army. No, they are not known for being amazing fighters, but they have the money. And both Turkey and Pakistan badly need cash. So what actually is happening is Turkey hiring bodyguards. And those bodyguards are not only incentivized by the money, but because Iran is a big country, that's a lot of territory, a lot of assets, right? They have oil, God knows what other minerals, and in case they continue attacking their neighbors, specifically Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, I am almost sure other will join that alliance. It's a Sunni alliance, and most Islamic countries are Sunni, biggest being Egypt, 120 million people, largest army. So I don't know if Egypt will join, but I expect others to join who have the money. And from there, it's anyone's guess. I expect even the dumbest folks in Iran to stop attacking Saudi Arabia. And if that happens, others quickly will join that pact because they also have money. And that way, Iran will have tight hands. And believe me, Turkey doesn't have any scruples that Donald Trump and any Western government or Israel have. Turkey will destroy anything just because it's part of their duty as a part of that alliance. And probably same for Pakistan. So I don't want this to happen, any of that. But Iran is going down so fast. And it's a jungle, folks. Everyone wants someone's territory. Everyone has some historical reason to occupy or to take back that territory. Turkey is extremely concerned by the Kurds, and the Kurds are in that area over here, where Turkey, Iraq, and Syria have touched each other. So Turkey would have an excuse, and I think there is some in Kurds in Iran. So Turkey would have a good excuse to achieve some of its own goals if Iran gives them an opportunity. So it looks like a perfect scenario for peace if Iran is smart. But Iran is not smart, at least the people who are in charge in Iran. They took so much beating and they keep not getting reasons. So I wouldn't be surprised if they keep attacking Saudi Arabia, and then they will get the Turkish F-15s and the Pakistani long-range missiles and what God knows what else. And those will not just focus on military target. They will hit everything. And they will not have any scruples about sending troops on the ground, boots on the ground. They will, especially Turkey, would send boots on the ground and would occupy parts of Iran under the pretext of protecting their allies from the Mecca Pact. So that's a very interesting scenario. I encourage you to follow the news from the area. I think Trump will take a break. It's a just good time for him to focus on the elections, on the economy. He is already strangling Iran by not allowing them to trade, by blocking their money. I don't think there is any need for us to hit them. Let them starve, because starvation is the best advisor, the fastest way for anyone to become reasonable or make huge mistakes and they pay for them. Thank you for watching, and let's meet again